All right, you're watching Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike. We talk about another topic regarding leadership, and we are dealing with how to develop skills for effective leadership. What has leadership always been? You know, leaders like Alexander the Great inspired people. They created that impression, that sense that they were invincible. That is why soldiers followed them. But then again, the question of what has leadership always been? And today, what are the skills needed to attain that effective leadership? Dr. Murithi Ndegwa is the Executive Director and CEO of Kenya Institute of Management and also the former Managing Director, Kenya Tourism Board. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Mike.
How have you been since last time?
Very well, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and good morning, listeners.
Yes.
It's been quite okay, although
yes,
it looks like it was just the other day.
Yeah.
Although I think we were last year together about 3 weeks ago, is it?
Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's talk about the aspect of developing effective leadership skills. But the first question I want to pose to you, Daktari, is from your perspective, what has leadership always been about?
You know, in the modern world, Mike, leadership is less about authority, but more about authenticity. And the question is, what do I mean? Leaders today are called upon to inspire people, to be the vision carrier,
yes,
to motivate people,
yes,
to mentor people, to communicate effectively, and also to look at the strategic direction the country or the organization is going,
yes,
and give that hope that this is the direction we want to go to. So much so that they are leading people to achieve some certain objectives or some certain goals. And in the past, it used to be so much of command and control. But now, it's a very different ballgame. We are talking about the vision carrier. We are talking about leading with empathy. We are talking about communicating effectively. We are talking about being the person who is strategically looking at where do you want to go, where do you want to be in the next couple of years.
Yes. You've said something very important. It's more of authenticity than authority. That means there's been a mind shift in terms of how people view leadership.
You know, for a very long time, people are thinking that so long as you have a title, you're the leader.
You're the leader.
And you can do anything that is under the moon. But now it's a case of authenticity. Are you preaching wine? Are you preaching water
and drinking wine?
And drinking wine?
Yes. Are
you leading in an empathetic way? Are you also nurturing people so as to take over from you once you leave the stage? And the issue about integrity becomes very crucial.
Yes.
So much so that it's a case of what you preach is what you do. What you drink is what you do.
You walk the talk.
You walk the talk, basically, yes.
So in that aspect now, how can one now become a leader that other people want to follow? Not just a leader because you just want to be a leader, but a leader that people want to follow.
Thank you for that question, Mike. There are several things that one actually can do. And the first thing is that we realize that today, in the modern world today, things are really different from the way they were before. Why do I say this? A couple of years ago, people used to talk about a framework they were calling the VUCA model, where they would talk about the world is volatile, there's uncertainty, there's complexity, and there's ambiguity. And that was back in the 80s. But post-COVID, there are researchers that have come up with another different model that they call the Bunny model. Let me explain. We're talking about a world that is brittle. So if the world is brittle, people are fragile. The country is fragile. Institutions are fragile. So as a leader, what do you need to do? You need to create that hope. You need to be empathetic. You also need to lead with a consciousness. You also need to lead with integrity, so that in everything that you're doing, people can actually see that, yes, I am able to do whatever I can do, even without the leader being there. Because you are inspiring hope. You are showing people that this is the direction that we want to go to, and people follow you. And there are perfect examples. In fact, the people who were here just a few minutes ago, they were talking so much about that aspect of leadership, especially the aspect of integrity. Let me go to the next letter, which is A, anxiety. Now, we are living in a world that is anxious. Anxious in the sense that things can change suddenly.
Yes.
And if you look at the world over, there are so many countries where there are hotspots. People don't know how things are going to be like tomorrow. Look at even the COVID situation.
Yes.
Nobody would have predicted that COVID situation, isn't it? So as a result of that, you then need to realize that the organization or the country that you're leading, people are anxious, and therefore you need to harness them in a way that they stop being anxious and they become more productive and they become more forward-looking. Then there is N. N looks at non-linear. A lot of times, we used to say, especially in sciences,
yes,
you mix chemical A and B, the results are always automatic.
Yes.
You'll get this. For example, you mix water with salt. What do you get?
Salty water.
Or you mix, okay, they used to say sodium hydroxide,
yes,
because you're mixing water and sodium.
Yes.
But the thing is, in the world today, you cannot say that if I do A and somebody else does B, the results will be C. It is not automatic. It is it is non-linear, basically, in the sense that things are fragile. You cannot simply expect predict the results with complete certainty. So what do? You are therefore looking at several scenarios, and there is data analytics that can help you in looking at different scenarios. AI can help you also in terms of looking at different scenarios, so that you're able then to be a little bit more structured, in the sense that you're saying, if I do this and you do this, then the results are likely to be X, Y, Z. Then the last one is I, incomprehensibility. You simply cannot comprehend what is happening in an organization or even in the world. Why? Because scenarios change by the day. For example, who would have predicted that there was going to be COVID? Even in this country, who would have predicted that we would have had the Gen Z situation that we had a couple of months ago? It was very difficult to predict, isn't it? So as a result of that, because of that incomprehensibility, you are leading an organization, you're leading a country whereby you simply just have to look at so many different scenarios and then put all things together, and then you're able to move forward.
So that means it is an evolving kind of situation.
It is an evolving situation, yes.
Now, in that aspect, building and strengthening of leadership skills, what do you think are the most effective ways of achieving that? Ways to develop perfect leadership skills, if I may put it like that.
I wouldn't say that there's any perfect leadership skills, but general, because situations evolve and people are different. Leading an organization, leading a county, leading a country, leading the world may be slightly different. But the fact of the matter is that there are several things that you can say have congruence in terms of giving you better results.
Yes.
For example, the first and foremost thing is that as a leader, you need to evaluate yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses.
Yes.
Every one of us has got strengths. Every one of us has got weaknesses. And every one of us has got triggers.
Yes.
For example, there's some people you touch and they spark.
Yes.
So once you know all those aspects, then you know if I'm given a position of leadership, at least I have done a self-awareness. So I'm aware of my strengths, I'm aware of my weaknesses, and I'm aware of my triggers. And so therefore, you're able to lead people in a way that you know you are areas that you need to improve on, and you also are able then to tell them that this is what you need to do. So basically what we're talking about is the aspect of first and foremost self-awareness. The other one is that the leader is a mentor and a coach. When you're leading people, they have to have confidence in you, that you have the technical capability. You're also empathetic enough in the sense that you feel them.
Yes.
They're not machines. They're not robots. They are human beings. You feel them, and they know that even if I make a mistake, I will not be crucified for making the mistake, but the leader will nurture me in a way to say, yes, you've made the mistake, but supposing we do things this way. Number 3, you also need to look at effective communication. Now, as a communicator, we talk about not just in fact, they say leadership is about 90% communication.
Yes.
Why? Because you have to communicate the vision of the organization. You have to communicate the vision of the country. And I recall, for example, like this country, when the late President Kibaki came on board, we talked about Vision 2030, and it was all over. Everybody was talking about Vision 2030, Vision 2030. Singapore also have had their own vision. And Vision 2050, I can't remember what it was, but the vision was very clear in terms of what they would do. Now, when you communicate, Everybody knows that I am supposed to be reaching that goal.
Yeah.
I recall a case study we were looking at when the Americans wanted to go to the moon. And they said, by the turn of the decade, we need to land a man or a person in the moon. After the Russians had gone ahead.
Yes.
And I remember a case study where the CEO of an organization came and asked, a sweeper, what are you doing? And she said, I'm contributing to landing the man in the person on the moon by the turn of the decade. Now that means the vision has been communicated.
Yeah.
Everybody from the top to the bottom in the organization knows exactly what they need to do and how they need to achieve it. The other thing is being empathetic. So much so that, as I said, even if somebody makes a mistake, or if somebody is not quite up to, you are able to feel them, and the person feels, yes, I can trust this person, I can trust my leader, irrespective of the circumstances.
Yes.
The other one is agility and adaptability. As I said, the organizations we're leading today, the world that we're in today, the countries that we're leading today, they are living in a very volatile situation, the so-called bunny situation.
Yes.
And that means because of the major technological achievements that have come through, you have to be prepared to be agile, meaning you're able to respond very quickly to changes that come, and that's why we talk about agility and adaptability.
Yes.
The other one is integrity. Very crucial in the sense that you cannot be telling people, do this, and then Mike, the following day, you are seen
doing something different.
Else. Or you're telling the people, we'll do this, and they can see right through you that whatever you're saying is a lie, it's a hoax. The minute people lose confidence in you as a leader because of lack of trust and lack of integrity, you've lost it.
Yes.
So those are some of the things that perhaps we can talk about in terms of effective leadership. I think the other one also that I should talk about is technology. The world is going through a technological exponential breakthroughs.
Yes.
Every now and then you hear about so many things that are coming. And the leader of tomorrow needs also to be savvy from a technological perspective, because otherwise things will just pass you. Because
actually I was coming to that, how leaders can leverage on technology to build stronger connections, team connections, and cohesion, because that is very important, given that we are living in a world where technology is fast changing.
Absolutely.
Do you think, in a way, in that aspect, social media has changed or reshaped the leadership styles of today?
Certainly, I'd believe, in my view, that it has. The reason being, there's a time when, like I said, in the early years, it was command and control. And the leader was basically had all the information within their power.
Yeah.
And the information was not spread out to every person, whether it's in the society, whether it's in the organization. The rest of the people basically didn't have that much information. You recall in the olden days, I think, a couple of years ago, when the only broadcaster in this country was KBC.
Yes.
You recall? Yes. And we had to switch on the TV from, I think, 6 o'clock until 11.
Yes.
And whatever was broadcast in terms of news, you took it to be the gospel truth.
Yeah.
Because that was basically the only source of information.
Yes.
But today, there's so many sources of information. You go to ChatGPT, they'll give you so much information about this or that or the other. To the point whereby the leader now has to be not just the source or the peddler of the information, but he or she also has to, again, also balance out what is coming out, what is not coming out. So to answer the question, yes, social media has really transformed things because things are happening real time, and it's not a question of you'll be told about it tomorrow. It's happening right now, and it's also happening in a way that, unfortunately, some of the information also can be so sensational, so much so that by the time it's coming to the leader or by the time the leader is taking action, already everybody is aware about it. And I think there's something, perhaps maybe, Mike, I should mention that you also mentioned that is also crucial.
Yes.
The leader is also a team builder. You don't achieve results alone, you achieve with a team or through teams.
Yes. Now, you know, we talk about self-awareness, authenticity and everything, but what do you think is this place of emotional intelligence for a leader, especially for emerging leaders of today?
Thank you very much. Initially, we used to talk about intelligence quotient, IQ.
Yes.
That those who have high IQs, they are likely to do better. But we now talk about emotional intelligence,
Yes.
EI, or emotional intelligence quotient. And the whole aspect about emotional intelligence is that, like I said, there is a lot of fragility in the situations in the country, in organizations, and so on. So as a result of that, the leader needs to have emotional intelligence to understand that the reason why Mike is not performing well today is because things have happened at home, or he's going through a situation, and therefore he cannot be at a perfect peace of mind.
Yes.
But if you lack that emotional intelligence, one, you lose credibility. Two, you lose trust with your people. And three, you're not able to be adaptable to situations. And yet we're talking about situations are very fragile and very adaptable. So indeed, the thing that a leader also should have is emotional intelligence.
From your perspective, and this regards preparing the next generation for leadership skills, do you think the youth of today are adequately prepared for leadership roles?
Tricky one. But let me say this, Mike.
Yes.
At no one time can one say that I'm fully prepared for leadership. You go through experiences to help you in terms of improving your leadership skills and your leadership qualities. So the youth that we are talking about, even as we were there, we were not prepared. But as a result of being nurtured and mentored and coached, you get, and also gaining experience, you gain leadership skills and you become more and more experienced. So all I would say is that leadership is a journey. You cannot say that you have it all, neither can you say that you are tabula rasa, blank. You are not a blank slate.
Yes.
You cannot say that. You can only say that, yes, as far as my leadership journey is concerned, I've already done maybe 2 ranks, 3 ranks, I'm moving on to higher and higher levels. So for the youth, my encouragement would be, do not lose hope and don't say that you're not a leader. Yes. You are a leader. The only thing that you need to do is improve on your leadership skills, and there are so many ways of doing that. You can attend conferences, you can get books to help you, and there are so many books out there. For example, a book books by John Maxwell, very good in terms of preparing people for leadership. You can also seek a mentor, somebody that you aspire to be. You've seen a very successful CEO, a very successful governor, seek mentorship, a very successful president. Of course, may not be reachable, but you can find a way of understanding why that person did so well. And there are memoirs, there are people who write their memoirs. Barack Obama, for example, there are books that is written about his journey of life.
From your perspective also, how do you think education institutions can prepare young people for future leadership roles?
They certainly have a role to play. I would agree with that, Mike. And I think the key thing is, first and foremost, is to move away from that aspect of rote learning. And I think the current curriculum is trying to do exactly that, the CBC, the competency-based curriculum. The key thing, therefore, is that even in terms of situations that you go through in school, the minute you are prepared to think, to be innovative, to be creative, all these are attributes that help in terms of your leadership aspect.
Yes.
But that's something I should have talked about earlier on. The aspect of innovation and creativity.
Yes.
The other thing also is role modeling. In school, some certain schools I know, they have a very structured system where they appoint prefects.
Yeah.
And the prefect system is such that they identify your leadership qualities from an early age. And the minute you're given that role to become a prefect, of course, you are now role modeling, and it helps you even in terms of developing and building your leadership qualities. You've seen a lot of those kind of leaders coming through even to the university. They become student leaders, and eventually after that they become successful or well-grounded members of parliament. For example, somebody like Honorable Babu Owino.
Yes.
You've seen his track record in terms of being a SONU leader, and then after that now he's an MP. And there are many others we can talk about.
Yeah.
So the school system actually has a role in terms of preparing people for leadership positions. And it's a case of everybody is given an opportunity. But the minute you have been identified as a leader, in that early age, then develop and nurture your skills.
In terms of managing criticism and conflict, That is a very important aspect. And from, what do you think? How can leaders handle this aspect of criticism and conflict constructively and emotionally, in an emotionally intelligent way?
Thank you, Mike. In every organization, in every situation, every country, there will always be conflicts. And the issue is, how then do you handle the conflict? Because you want to enhance the teamwork so that you can develop, so that you can build more performance based on the teams. Because everybody has a role to play in terms of the overall. And we always say the weakest person is, the weakest link in an organization, in a country, actually is the measure of the overall output.
Yes.
So if a conflict comes in, one thing that as a leader you're supposed to do is step aside. Don't put yourself in a mix in the sense that you are identifying already with A or with B.
Yes.
Step aside. Listen to both cases. Listen to A, listen to B. Analyze the situation. And I would say also pray about it. And you get that inspiration that tells you, that gives you that confidence to do the Solomonic judgment. Oftentimes that can be done. Other times it may not be Solomonic judgment. It may be a question of reducing the conflict and ensuring that people also are living harmoniously, because we are not all equal. And there is no single time that we'll all be channeled in one direction. In fact, we talk about embracing diversity. So we also have to embrace that diversity, but the way we handle the conflict, the way we handle the situation actually determines the end result. And the minute we embrace it in a positive way, knowing very well that people cannot be exactly the same. There will always be conflicts, there will always be differences. Even Moses, when he was leading people in the wilderness, you remember there were those who were grumbling.
Yes.
There are those who are saying, oh, how can we keep eating manna through and through? We'd rather go back to Egypt and eat the different food that there was. So people will always have that kind of perspective. But the fact of the matter is, it's a question of how you handle it, and it's also a question of how you embrace it.
Leadership in business, leadership in politics, leadership in organizations. Do you think leaders today lead by example?
Thank you, Mike. It's a subjective question, as I would say.
Yes.
There are certainly some good examples of people who lead by example, either in the business world, in the political world, or even in organizations. But there is also a huge number of people who do not lead by example.
Yes.
So it's a balanced kind of situation. Yes, there are some who basically you can point out and say, that one, I think I can trust him. That one, I think he is doing, or she is doing the right things. But obviously, there are many others. They're preaching, they're preaching water, and behind the scenes, they're doing all manner of things.
Let's circle back to the aspect of leadership and communication, because communication is very important. What does effective communication for a leader depend on? How does it look like?
Thank you, Mike. Now, we said communication actually plays almost a very significant role in terms of effective leadership. And we said sometimes we even say 90% of the leader, what the leader does is communication. Why? Because you cannot keep the ideas in your mind and expect that the organization, the business, and the country is going to move forward. But when it comes to communication, obviously, there are good ways of doing communication. One of them is being an active listener. As we are talking with you, if my eye contact is with you and I'm listening actively to you, I can see this, I can nudge you by giving you some non-verbal signs.
Yes.
And I can actually get a bit more from you by showing you that I'm actually listening to you. This is basically what you're talking about in terms of active listening. Again, also as a leader, you need to listen more as opposed to talk all the time. Because you become a storyteller. And you know, there's so many storytellers out there.
Yes.
Oh, Mike, you should have done this, that. I mean, the reason why you have been given your brains to do what you're supposed to do is because you have the brains. And so I should trust you by listening more to you and also not all the time doing the talking, but also listening to the people. The third aspect is what they call the non-verbal communication. When you do something good, as a leader, a simple tap or pat on the back to the person you're working with, or even encouraging the person and saying, oh, that was really good, it gives that motivation. It encourages the person to even do better next time. And then fourthly, there's also the aspect of preaching water and drinking water. No. In this case, it's preaching water and drinking water, in the sense that your people know that even if I make a mistake, and I communicate to my leader that I've made a mistake, they will not bash me. He or she will not bash me, but they will also listen empathetically to me and understand my situation. In other words, you are making it clear that you are part and parcel of the team, as opposed to the boss who is doing command and control. And I think also it's very important also that even in terms of communication, people also know that you give them a free hand to do what they are best placed to do. And that also inspires innovation. It also inspires creativity.
That also means that you believe in those you lead to execute the vision.
Absolutely. In fact, the leader should be such that even when you're not there, people will do exactly what you expect them to do. And even when you expire the stage, you have nurtured people to come and do exactly what you did. And there are so many examples you can talk about, especially in the business world.
Yes. Still on that aspect of communication, Daktari, how can leaders ensure that their communication is not, does not intimidate, rather it inspires and actually passes the message as is?
Thank you, Mike. Look at, for example, and I want to give a perfect example, Nelson Mandela, the late President Nelson Mandela of South Africa. When he came from prison after being incarcerated for, is it 27 years?
27 years.
He didn't come back with a rabble rousing that, oh, these guys are bad, they jailed me for 27 years. He came in to build a country. And he said, let's build our country. Embracing people and showing people that, yes, they may have done this, they may have done this, but the fact of the matter is that we now need to move forward. Perfect example I remember is a Rugby World Cup, 1999. Maybe you watched it.
Well.
But the Springboks was seen as the epitome of apartheid.
It was a South African team.
It was South Africa was playing against New Zealand in the finals. Nelson Mandela actually donned a cap and jacket of Springboks, and he went to the stadium, and he actually went to shake hands with all the players, and he said, we are supporting our boys. And everybody rallied together to support the Springboks. Otherwise, at that point in time, perhaps maybe if he had said these people were part and parcel of apartheid, most likely then the rest of the country would have said, that's their affair, it is not our affair. But you can see somebody who is so intelligent and who is so embracing, bringing people together. And I think this is where leaders are called upon, especially from that aspect of race of communication, to ensure that you are communicating not just verbally, but non-verbally. And also to ensure that even the actions that you're doing, the actions that you take, they are clearly reflecting that aspect of the message that we need to move together and forge ahead as a team, as a business, as an organization, as a county, or even as a country.
So in other words, communication, leadership and communication in a way fosters unity.
Absolutely, yes, it does.
Now, from your perspective also, Daktari, which in the 21st century, for a leader in the 21st century, which skills or aspects do you think are the most crucial for them today?
Tough call, but in my view, I would think integrity plays a very major role. The reason being, you can fool the market, but you can't successfully fool the market forever. At one time or another, people will get to know that this guy is fake. And you've heard about people talking so much about, that's a fake leader. Oh, that's a fake guy. The reason is because they have been able to see through you. Even though you're putting a facade of somebody who is this or that or the other, they're able to see through you. So in my view, I think integrity plays a very, very major role, because the minute people identify you as one person whose integrity is beyond reproach, and they know very well that what I see in Mike able, is what Mike does. They tend to trust you more and to have more confidence in you.
Yes.
So I think that's a very crucial aspect. Of course, there are many others, like being a good communicator, being somebody who is empathetic, emotionally intelligent, and so on and so forth. But I'm thinking integrity, in my view, plays a very major role.
It's top of the list.
I would say so, yes.
And
but of course, there are many others that supplement or complement it.
Yeah, and even matters to do with the being tech savvy.
Absolutely, yes.
Now, looking at everyday life, you know, when you talk about leadership, people think it's about being a leader in a business, being a leader in the political world. But how can ordinary people, because even in the family unit, there's leadership there.
Yes.
How can ordinary people cultivate leadership skills in their daily lives?
Thank you. Thank you for that question, Mike. As I said, every one of us is born a leader. But of course, you have to nurture and improve your skills so that you become a better leader. Not a perfect leader, but a better leader. And so leadership, as I said earlier on, is a continuous journey. You're improving on a gradual basis. You're improving on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. So even in a family setup, there are kids that sometimes you may comment and say, you are like so-and-so.
Yes.
Already, you are suppressing their capability by showing them that you can never be this, and you're condemning the person to be this. I think that's one mistake that a lot of people make, and it is important to know that every person has innate capabilities in them that they can become better. So even when you see some weaknesses, you actually don't emphasize so much of the weaknesses, but you also emphasize more about the strengths while also trying to work on the weaknesses so that the person can improve. The second thing also is that when you start identifying somebody and seeing this person is good in the organization, or this person is good in the business, or this person is good in the leadership position that they're in, you mentor and you coach. Because Rome was not built in one day. And the experience you have gathered over the years should also nurture you, or should also encourage you to pass on that experience to those below you. So that even when you leave, there will be continuity. In fact, oftentimes we say the true mark of a good leader is that even after they expire, or even after they leave, the situation or the organization, the business or the country or the county will still continue doing well. Why? Because you nurtured leaders that can also take over from you. The third thing also, I think also that is also important is that there are some skill sets that you can also improve on. What you talked about in terms of being technologically savvy. The leader of tomorrow will certainly have to be tech savvy. Because a lot of decisions will be made based on the information that you have. And there are so many tools in AI to help you in terms of data analytics,